Reddit users, what is the absurd, crazy story that happened in your town that the rest of the world doesn't know about? The bowling alley is and always has been the only form of recreation in my hometown. In the early 60s, the janitor of said bowling alley was axe-murdered in one of the lanes early morning before it opened. The case is still unsolved. However, it's pretty much universally accepted that the police chief at the time did it. They found his watch near the crime scene as well as footprints matching shoes that he owned. Apparently, there's a mountain of evidence about the case that has gone missing and was presumably destroyed by said police chief. Everyone believes that the janitor had something on him that he was going to expose, with theories ranging that they were gay lovers to that the police chief was a child molester, but a lot of those are more suburban legends and people generally have zero idea. Apparently the janitor was simple-minded, pretty much old-timey code for mentally disabled, and he was a very kind, friendly guy and everyone in town loved him. He's buried at the local cemetery, which is, I issue not, literally right across from the bowling alley. Everyone continues to go there for family fun pretty much every weekend, and refuses to acknowledge that a man was killed with an axe where they're standing and that his body is just some yards away. A woman in my hometown died after pumping gasoline into her butt while high on meth. A dog kept breaking into people's houses and pooped on their pillows and cushions. Owner posted on a community Facebook page apologizing for it and offering to replace any damaged items. Apparently if the people saw the dog doing it, would yell at the dog or shoo it away, it would always come back. I grew up in a small town in the northern part of Florida. A guy in his mid-20s from my hometown was having some sexual relations with someone for drugs. Cocaine, opiates, etc. Let's call him Bill. The person supplying the drugs fell in love with Bill. He wanted to tell everyone. Well, he told Bill about his feelings and intentions. Bill wasn't happy. Him and Bill drive to the woods for a rendezvous. Bill stabs him with a huge knife repeatedly and leaves him in his car to die in the woods. He hikes home to his girlfriend and she helps clean him up. Well, the guy doesn't die and drives himself to the hospital. Bill goes to prison for attempted murder. Oh, I just commented a couple days ago, so I'll just copy and paste this comment. In my old town, there was a giant drug operation. I'm talking helicoptering drugs across the Canadian-American border. This guy had mob ties. He ran a roofing business. And it was only when he suddenly started buying really expensive things like cars and clothing did the police get tipped off. I'm talking a town of less than 1,000 people. Apparently he made and processed drugs in his warehouse, and would fly over the border. No one caught on because his place was pretty secluded up in the mountains. One of the guys who was in the scheme killed himself by hanging with bed sheets, but it's pretty much known in the community that he didn't kill himself. Someone most likely killed him. Some couple involved was also murdered a few years back, and it's still unsolved. It's weird because one of the dudes involved mum ran the general store. I have memories of going there with my parents and getting candies. Town is sketch. A wild Florida story here. A couple who were highly educated, one had a PhD, the other a master's, chose to be homeless and were living on a major intersection. An unusual decision to say the least, but it took a weird turn. They both denied help from anyone and resorted to eating grass and their own poop. The police ended up picking them up and Baker acting them. Turns out they were completely sane and just chose to do this. So now they live around that intersection permanently. I see them every once in a while. The Tampa shoelicker. He was a 20-something-year-old fella who'd run around Ybor and ask to lick the bottoms your dirty shoes from bottom to top. This went on for at least 6 months, maybe even a year. Space Shuttle Columbia blew up over my town and rained down hellfire, and we picked up debris and body parts for 2 days. Friend's dad had to call the FBI cause he found an astronaut's arm in his yard. I used to live in a place that was dubbed the heroin hub of Wisconsin. A guy went around and shot a bunch of stoplights, the reason being he believed the government timed it so they'd always be red when he came across one, making him late for work, which got him fired, which made his wife divorce him. I was watching this as this happened. An illegal construction of an apartment barely 15 foot away from mine. The owners were 4 brothers from wealthy but moderately powerful family. The cops came to destroy the apartment several times, but owners filled it temporarily with beggars and allowed them to stay. When the court decision finalized, cops came riot-ready gear and in numbers to finally take the apartment to ground. They started with windows, collected the glass pile at the entrance. During the rest of demolition, 3 of the 4 owners showed up and went to 3rd floor and threatened to jump from there. Police tried to calm the situation. One was even ready to shoot them in leg. I saw him readying the gun. Few minutes later, when more and more cops started storming the apartment, those 3 poured kerosene over themselves. They brought in backpacks and warned everyone to leave the site. The cops made a stupid mistake of not leaving and making the situation worse. One of those 3 lighted a matchstick and kept his hand at a long distance. Torso was poured with kerosene. One cop tried to panic grab the matchstick. The man got scared and pulled his hand towards his torso. And also the lightened matchstick. Needless to say, he caught fire and shone like a effing Christmas tree. The burning one ran towards 2 others and set another of them on fire. The 3rd one decided to hang out of the window to keep himself safe, but lost his balance, and guess where did he fell? The pile of broken glass from windows. The concrete path literally cracked in center when he fell on the pile. Till date I see a cracking animation anywhere on internet. I have scary flashbacks. 2 of them 90% burned, and Jumping Man and Kuma. Mine is an older apartment, so our floors are quite heighted than new apartments, so we could see the 3rd floor from our 2nd floor clearly. Mom fainted after the man jumped. Sister puked and fainted when the cleanup was underway. The burnt man's leg literally squashed when cleanup personnel tried to pick him up. I was frozen the entire time, legs shivering. The jumping guy survived after 4 months of coma. His neck is now disfigured along with his chest. No newspaper covered it, no news on local radio too. Nothing, absolutely silent, maybe because it was elections. Fact, my head was injured by a small object, bamboo, while construction of that apartment. I was bleeding heavily and none of the workers took notice. I had to cross a small narrow path which was wall on one side and the illegal apartment on another. He was notified of it and rushed to see me. I reached my gate and started going dizzy. He picked me, got me to hospital and paid the bills. Of course he was afraid we'd sue, but also due to his nature. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you were at all entertained, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing for future content. Stay safe everyone, until next time.